Today, we explore nowness. Have you, like most of us, ever found yourself overly focused or at least preoccupied with things that are no longer happening? I mean, at least in the moment. Be it something that happened yesterday or could possibly happen later. The average person is usually consumed with ideas or movies, if you will, of scenes of things that have happened in yesterday or yesteryear. What they could have done differently, what they should have done differently, what they wish would have happened, or any of those things that are not happening now. Or imprisoned by the idea of what can happen later. Worrying about if this doesn't happen now, then this will happen then. Or based on what happened then, this is going to happen now. The issue is, all of that is a distraction from what is right now. Why is this important? Why is this important, and what to do about it when you realize that this is what's happening with you? Not planting ourselves in the present moment keeps us prisoner to one of two things. One of two things that don't exist. Whether the future or the past. Playing old movies or creating new ones. We don't want to be stuck in a time-space mental loop of something that's not happening now, because it removes our ability to be present and to see what is and to exist in this very moment. Nowness is simply the practice of mentally and physically choosing to acknowledge, watch, and or perform in this very moment continuously. Be here now. If my surgeon is not able to focus on what's happening real time during surgery on my brain, a number of catastrophes can happen, including my death, brain damage, a whole slew of things. To be great, you have to be tapped into the moment. You have to choose the moment as it comes, as it is. Otherwise, not only things can go wrong, they can go really wrong, sometimes irreversible. If you find yourself being lost in the old movie that you've played in the past, or creating a new one that hasn't happened yet, we can look at Stoicism and see how that can become a part of our daily philosophy and practice and enhance our thinking. What is Stoicism? Stoicism, simply put, but not in its entirety, is the endurance of pain or hardship without the display of feelings and without complaint. Now what that means is moment to moment, being able to be present and have experiences that would otherwise be categorized as good or bad, and not having any feelings toward them either way, in the sense that they don't control us. They don't change how we feel or what we think. We acknowledge them for what they are and see them as things that had to happen and accept responsibility for them, even if we don't necessarily know or can see the roadmap and how our involvement created that experience. Accepting what is without any judgment. Or Stoicism says, as social beings, the path to eudaimonia, which is happiness or blessedness, is found in accepting the moment as it is presented, by not allowing oneself to be controlled by the desire for pleasure or by the fear of pain, by using one's mind to understand the world and to do one's part in nature's plan, and by working together and treating others fairly and justly. I think that is really important, because that makes all of us responsible. It makes all of us take a stance and say not to take things personally. It requires all of us to pay attention to what's happening, to consider how the flow of things are going, how our activity and interaction can affect others, and consider them when making decisions. Well, this is really a great way to be a participating member and valuable member of society. A word that I like to use often is amor fati. Amor fati, in short, means I love it, or the love of fate. I love my fate. I accept my fate. Not only do I accept it, but I love it. This is what is happening, and I love it. I embrace it. Amor fati is a very good experience or very good philosophy to take on, because it allows us and prompts us to be present, to be acceptive, and to do what we can, but not to be moved emotionally left or right. So in short, how this can help us is look at each moment that you're in and say, am I present? One of the first things that a wise person will say is, are you breathing? Am I breathing? How am I breathing? And then check the breath. In the process of checking the breath, the body will have to respond and it relaxes. It gives space to observe. The mind and the eyes can look around and see what's happening. Then you can go into a space of questioning the thought. What is the thought process? What is happening here? And how is it affecting me? With that said, I'd like to talk about the potential future that you're not worried about, but are also preparing in the moment to be ready for if you are granted the opportunity to meet that moment. And that's when Mentality comes in. Mentality is the platform I designed back in 2017 for people who really wanted to aggressively achieve their goals, for people who wanted it to be revolutionary and changing their life, changing their mind, and achieving an aggressive amount of goals in 1 year. With Mentality, we have the Win in 10 platform. We have these 10 things to do in 6 stages. You have win the morning, win the day, win the week, win the month, win the quarter, and win the year. So here's 3 quick things to help you prepare for possible moments that you may be granted with. Number 1, write out all your goals. Just write them all out. Just write out all your goals. No specific order, no time or date, goals. Grab a few of those goals, ones that stick out to you. Let's say 5 to 10. Put each one on its own piece of paper, and then on each one, write down the things that you feel like you need to do to achieve those goals. Just write those things out. Just write what those look like. Whether it's things you'd have to do, where you'd have to go, people you'd have to talk to, help that you would need. Third thing is schedule out your life around those necessary tasks. Put those tasks into place, give them a date and a time, and then schedule the rest of their things around those tasks. And then when you have that, you'll have a detailed look at a roadmap that will help you to begin to achieve all of those goals. And you'll find that a lot of these things can be achieved a lot sooner than you thought, and they will create the avenues and the opportunities to achieve other things on those lists, or things that you didn't even know you wanted to achieve, because it's going to put you in a perpetual motion of acquiring more time, greater decision making, and putting more intensified energy into the things that are important to you. This week, I had the opportunity to speak with Chris Do from the future and share some stages with him on Clubhouse, and just got to really listen and learn. And he talked about Ikigai. And if you don't know what Ikigai is, Ikigai, Ikigai. It's a Japanese word. It roughly means purpose, but look it up. Look what Chris Do says about it. It's on my Twitter. It's on his Twitter. And I think it's really going to help you immerse yourself in the moment once you figure this out. Before we wrap up, I want to encourage you to read a book by Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now. This book is so important to me. My mentor, Jockey, gave it to me, or told me to read it back in 2008. Like a knucklehead, I didn't even end up reading this book till like 2010. It is the only book that my daughter is required to read. It is that important. And the reason I say that is because it's so profound. If you apply those practices, everything else that you need will open up to you, because you will be present for it, and you will be able to make better decisions based on it. And anything else you need will fall at your footsteps. With that said, it is looking about that time, and I'd like to thank you for yours. Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. Follow us on YouTube, follow the Facebook page, and come check me out on Clubhouse. And if you don't have a Clubhouse yet, go check me out on Instagram, Twitter, Fanbase. Go subscribe to the Fanbase, special content there. And I am still giving away 15 invitations to Android users and 15 invitations to Clubhouse to Apple users. The app is invite only still, and there is still a waiting list. And if you don't know anyone on there that can move you on the waiting list or give you an invitation, you are still locked outside the club. And Clubhouse is most definitely where you want to be. So, as always, define, design, repeat.